Welcome to Shadowshiver, a podcast that tells real or imaginary horror stories. It's up to you, believe it. Yay, and crack my whole damn hand, that's fine too. I'm ready to read. It was late that night. I sat alone in the basement of my parents' house. I was only 12 at the time, but my parents were very trusting of me. I was the kind of kid that never did anything bad or anything to give them a reason not to trust me. I had a few friends, but the majority of them lived on the other side of town, which was about a 30-minute walk down the main road. I was just sitting downstairs playing my video games just like any normal kid. The walk had just struck the midnight hour with the chime, and that's when I first heard it. Just a small fight right outside my window. Nothing that made me even think anything strange was going on. I lived in northern Washington, high up in the mountains, so the occasional wild animal outside my window was not a foreign concept to me. I didn't even really notice it the first time. About 5 minutes later, I heard it again, this time just slightly louder, and I decided just to try to ignore it, and kept staring at my screen. Once again I heard the thump, but yet again louder, more angry away, and I was fed up. I got up and walked upstairs to scare away the annoying beast. As I walked to the back door, I had this odd feeling that I shouldn't open it and peek my head out to yell. I couldn't explain it. It was like something in my brain was just freaking out, saying, "Don't open that door, and do not open that door," instead of opening the door. I decided it may be my best interest just to open the window slightly and yell out. I creaked open the window, there's just a few centimeters, and began shouting. Not really anything in particular, just weird sounds, trying to scare it off. I walked downstairs satisfied and thinking that I must have scared it off. Walking down the stairs, that hit me. I got this very uneasy feeling, the kind of feeling when you know you're being watched. A kind of feeling that makes your hair stand up on the back of your neck. The kind of feeling that makes children hide under their blankets at night from the monsters in the closet. I joked it around, looking behind me in every direction. It's just my head, I'm just a little tired, that's all I thought to myself, as I tried to regain my grip on reality when I was losing it. Maybe I wasn't even a thump coming from the window. Maybe it was all just in my imagination. I decided it best just to stay upstairs, watch TV, and just wait for my parents to return home. As I was decidedly terrified at this point, I walked back up the flight of stairs, grabbed the remote, flipped on the TV, and sat down into the couch. About 30 minutes later, as I was starting to fall asleep, I heard tap, tap, tap on the window directly behind me. This tap was not threatening or extremely loud, almost just kind of gentle in a way. I slowly turned my head to look out the window. There, standing about 3 feet from the window, little flame of the moonlight, was a creature that appeared to be a man at first glance, but as I looked closer, I realized was completely hairless and almost entirely white. The only colors that showed on its body were the blood, friends, that word, that raining through its skin, and its jet black avoided eyes. Its face was elongated, and it almost came to a pleat, then looked at me, raised its jagged, and started to wave into the floor. As I sat on the window, almost curious, the operator picked up. "What is your emergency? There's this buffoon, it's depending on the glass in my living room, staring at me and screaming, treating it, and it's almost broken." Entirely true. Oh, it's a completely white, but it stands like a man. It has no hair, and it's not, that's just one hinged. Sarah, this is not a place to making crank calls, which this isn't a problem. You just listen to this. They deform into the glass, and when I pulled her back to my ear, while she said was the most terrifying noise. As soon as I put the phone down, as soon as I put down the phone, the creature looked at me, scowl as if, and all those who knew what I had done and let my help. It turned around and began to walk back into the woods, and they vanished from sight. When the cops were the only evidence, I had the human template. She was the almost shattered window in which the creature had been continuously beating its fists on. The police did their routine stuff, asking what happened, what it looked like, and if I did anything to provoke it. Of course I said no, except for making the few noises I did out the window, and they took my testimony and left, letting my parents know the situation. That was the last time my parents ever left me home alone, and it was the last time I ever saw the creature up close, although I swear I see it sometimes just standing out in the woods a few hundred yards back, almost like it's waiting for me. And the worst part about it, it's always waving. I cracked open the window just a few centimeters and began shouting. Not really anything in particular, just weird sound ones trying to scare it off. Did you? But I love it up there. Oh well, that's not always working. Who can be helpful?
Thank you so much for listening. And if you liked this story, subscribe to our channel, leave a like, and see you next story.